2016 MLRA champion from Billings, Missouri, Jesse Stovall. Alongside Jesse, the 2019 Rookie of the Year in the late model class on the pavement at Lebanon I-44 Speedway. Third generation driver from Fairgrove, Dylan Bates. Continuing our theme of up-and-coming young drivers, the 2019 Lucas Oil MLRA Series Rookie of the Year from West Plains, Missouri, Logan Martin. This guy to my left has probably announced more races than anybody in the Ozarks and probably most every track over the years. He's been a voice, he's lined cars up, he's been an official. Ronnie Williams. To my right, the longtime promoter of Monette Speedway, also the original promoter owner of MLRA, and also a longtime promoter of the Marsh series, Randy Mooneyham. To Randy's right, you might have seen this guy on a television set over the years in the Ozarks, even going back to the black and white days, I might add.
You're killing me now, man.
We welcome Ned Reynolds. And to Ned's right, continuing our theme of young drivers, we welcome Dale Roper out of Fair Grove. Dale, sixth generation driver who probably feels just as young as these guys. But we're going to open this up to the audience. If you have any questions, wave your hand. Let us know. We have wireless microphones will come out. This is your opportunity to ask questions of these folks. But we're going to start out and ask Logan Martin about the 2019 season. Logan, Rookie of the Year, your first full year on the MLRA circuit. Just kind of give us an overview of what the season was like for you and what's ahead in 2020.
Yeah, no, the season was good. A lot of challenges. This was our first year ever on a regional tour like that, so a lot of first-time tracks, but was really thankful for the opportunity to get to travel with them guys and race with them. So it was definitely challenging, but we ended up third in points, which was a positive. And 2020 is going to look real similar to what we've done this year as far as following a regional tour, either the MRA or Comp Cams is going to be kind of what we're shooting for. So getting prepared now and all that. So, but 2019 was a great year, and just looking forward to 2020.
Hey, we're going to explore Logan's mindset here just a little bit. You raced at Wheatland quite a bit before, but here you are on the pole for the Phillips race in late August, and you're up against drivers who are, to be honest, quite a bit older than you are. You're a kid out there. What did you think about it? How did you go into it?
A lot of it is you just gotta have the right mindset. Like, you just can't let that get into your head. Like, there's always gonna be people with more experience or more money or more talent, and you just can't let that get into your head. You just really gotta stay focused on your own program and how can you be better as a driver, how can you be better as a crew chief or a setup person, or basically everybody on your team. Just how can you take it to the next level in order to try and maintain that. But I won't lie, the nerves do get to you every once in a while, but us as drivers, we try our best to keep them in the back of our head or back of our helmet.
Did you learn anything from that race?
Yeah, absolutely. We learn a lot from every race. That race, I learned I felt like I went too hard too quick, is what I learned on that race. I didn't feel like I had much left at the end. So I should have backed it up and should have ran a little bit slower race to save a little bit more towards the end and for the slicker track conditions. So we learned a little bit, me driving and setup wise after that race. So yeah, we did.
Let's ask a question for Dylan Bates, third generation driver from Fairgrounds. Dylan, tell the folks a little bit about your family's racing background and how that influenced you growing up getting into the sport.
Yeah, well, it all started with my grandpa, who's sitting right back here, and he's inducted into the Hall of Fame here. But he started racing at the Fairgrounds, and then he had three sons, Jay, David, and Bart, and they all raced at I-44 and Bolivar on the pavement in modifieds. And Bart went on to work in NASCAR for some Cup teams and stuff like that, actually with James Ince. And David and my dad stayed back here and kept racing mods, and that's just what I remember growing up watching. And so I got into racing dirt bikes around the age of 5 because I could ride a dirt bike in the backyard. I couldn't ride a go-kart in the backyard. So we started off on dirt bikes and did that for a long time, up until 2017, I guess. And then I decided to hop into a race car.
And tell us about the class you're racing at I-44 Speedway and your plans for next season.
Right, so I started off in the Big Ten Late Model Series, which was a startup class at I-44 in 2018. And we ended up having a great year. I think I finished outside the top 3 one time. I got a couple of race wins. And then going into 2019, I got an offer to drive for Dwayne Carmichael on the pro late model side of things. So we decided we were going to try to run 2 cars, but we didn't want to run them on the same nights. So I was running a pro late model and the Big Ten still. And we were focusing on the points for the pro late models. Looking back now, we should have went ahead and ran both classes every race, because I think we definitely had a championship contending car in the Big Ten side of things. But we still had a good year, and we pulled off Rookie of the Year in the pro late models, and I think 3rd in the standings, something like that. And see him sitting in the crowd over here. Shout out to the Twister Alley. I went down there for a couple times, ended up winning the track championship down there in the go-kart too. So we had a pretty fun 2019. Looking forward to 2020 because we got a new pro late model that we're putting together right now. We're looking to maybe try a couple out-of-town races, see what we can do there. But other than that, we're going to be racing weekly at I-44 in the new late model class.
Bates family about to take over for the Ropers for being the first family of racing in Fairgrounds?
I don't know. We still got the Eisenhowers out there. We got the Bates and the Eisenhowers left.
Dale, you saw the Bates family over the years. You raced against some of them, but tell us about the Bates family as racers.
Well, Wayne and I raced together a lot, and David, we raced together quite a bit. We used to, Wayne was telling a story back there, we slipped off down to Green Forest, Arkansas one night, heard us having races down there, and we had some decent cars. They were really running street cars. But we were running 1st and 2nd, and for somehow or other we got hooked together, and we didn't either one. We was running 1st and 2nd, but we didn't either one win.
Reminder: anybody in the audience has a question for anyone, just raise your hand. We'll come out with the microphone. Let's go to Jesse Stovall. Jesse, you've been one of the most recognizable drivers in the Ozarks over the last decade or so. How would you describe your 2019 season and what's ahead this coming year?
It wasn't very good. We started off the year and we tried some different things, different motors, and we won a few races, but we just really wasn't focused on racing like we have been in the past. I started a new business and just had more focus on that. So now that we kind of got it up and going, I don't know if it's going, but we're up, and for 2020 we're going to race quite a bit more and do some different things. And, just keep on doing what we always do. I've learned as I've got a little older to kind of not get so excited about the start of the year, but that way you can finish the year.
Jesse, in the Phillips race in late August, in which Logan started on the pole, you started in 8th place, and in the lineup, 8th place. And by the 12th lap, you have the lead. Now, besides the obvious answer, you drove faster than everybody else. What was your strategy going in there?
Well, Terry and I are such good friends, and I didn't know Larry a lot when I was just pretty young. I mean, I watched him race some, but I remember going to Monette and seeing him in the Kenny Essery battle and whatever. But that race just means a lot to me, and just for a lot of reasons, just because of what racing is in this area and what Larry Phillips meant to this area. I mean, one thing you can be guaranteed, if anybody knows anything about motorsports, they've heard of Larry Phillips, and so to win that race just meant a ton to me. And I had it slip out of my hands 2 or 3 years previous, and I had a mindset, almost as much as trying to win the Show Me 100, I want to win that race. And so, I was pretty gung-ho, and there really wasn't much backing up, waiting around in that race. I was in a hurry to do something and get it done.
Jesse, you'll be doing the intro later on for Terry Phillips tonight. Let's kind of talk about what he's meant to your career. You guys have gone from rivals on the racetrack, which you still are, but you're also very good friends now.
Yeah, I mean, I want to save a little bit of this for later, but he's a lot of people don't know him. They see him at the racetrack, and he definitely does an awesome job of putting his game face on. And so people just see the Terry Phillips with the game face on, but you know, to go out and eat dinner with him or just to be a friend. I mean, we drive up and down the road together. He's as good a friend as I've ever had, and probably been one of the biggest mentors that I've ever had. You know, as far as teaching me how to, you know, pace things a little bit and not get in such a hurry.
I asked Ronnie and Randy this. You guys are both track officials, and you know, you see Jesse and Terry race. You've seen those guys race a lot over the years. Nothing better, I guess, as a promoter to see two guys put on a show. How good a show does Jesse put on when he's out there on the racetrack?
Well, I always said the best show, or one of the best shows I ever seen was at I-55, and Jesse did his typical screwing around and got stuck in the back of the B feature because he was probably pissed off at me about something. So he started staying back in the B, which made him start 26th in the A or something. It was a Marsh show, and it goes green, white, checkered, and he passes more. You're on last lap, wins it. So Stovall he's a show in himself, and then Phillips is just a great professional, and he can win anytime, any place. And you know, as a promoter, I used to say, if you want to sell tickets, Terry Phillips, 75.
Jesse, first time I seen him make a move was at Midway in a modified. Went from 5th to 1st coming out of turn 4 before we hit turn 1. Big feeling, just like, looked like traction control. I hate to say that word, but little zip, 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 there he goes to the front. Now, working a lot of tracks and shows, you look for that showman. Jesse, again, when I'm not working one of the shows Memorial Weekend, if we go up for the show me, he's always fun to watch, especially coming from the back. Because you'll be watching the lead, you'll watch the scoreboard, you'll look at the scoring monitor, but you better watch the 00 because he's got his own little groove up there, and that's from the years of modified racing up there. Now Terry, I got to watch him run his first modified race out of what was Interstate Raceway. Wasn't long, Larry and IMCA kind of got into it over the rules, and he's got Terry in a late model. I mean, like 3 or 4 modified races was it. I had the privilege of calling Terry's first late model win at I-44. Randy helped promote those events. We had a Labor Day weekend deal. We did Saturday night, we did Sunday night, the 4 state, then we did a Monday afternoon show at Lebanon back when it was dirt, and that was in the 80s, later 80s. Anyway, track rubbered up, Terry got the lead, had some good drivers there. Well, Terry got in behind lap traffic. He decides he's going to go up in the cushion. Wasn't no cushion. They freight train around led by Larry, so he goes from 1st to 5th. Now, Terry's got lesson number 1. Don't get impatient on a rubber down, locked up racetrack. He picks them off. He was finding places you would never dream of. I don't think Larry really knew who was behind him, but with about 3 laps to go, he passed his dad for his first late model win. And I'll guarantee you, Larry probably had a big a smile as Terry did that night, because it just pure delight, and you could tell right there, he was going to have the talent and had what it takes. We've seen Terry run a few pavement races. He ran the very last race at the Fairgrounds on a dirt car, and then he ran a few in the asphalt races also in the 90s. So, you know, he's been able to do it with a late model, do it with a modified. So he's got his grassroots in there. Same thing with Jesse. Watched him go from modifieds to late models, and Logan's been the same way. Got to watch him run from the little wing karts, go up into modifieds, and then get into the bigger late models. And looks like that's a good breeding ground for these guys.
Hey Ron, I'd like to add one more thing. As far as these regional series with MLRA and Marsh and everything, Terry Phillips is probably one of the best point racers. I mean, he finishes one of the best point racers. Besides winning, he's a good point racer.
He studies the lineups. He'll look at where he's at. He'll tell you he doesn't, but he does. And then he knows, yeah, he's going for the win, he's going for first place, but he knows, okay, at the end of the year, this is worth maybe $25,000 to me. So instead of me trying to go around 3 cars, maybe I'll go around 1 car and get the car ready for the next race. So yeah, and Laurie was a pretty good points racer too, so I'd say he learned a lot of that from his dad.
Now, Jesse, you're known as a wheel man. You're a guy who likes to step on it and go. How do you balance that with having a little bit of patience during a race?
Age. Yeah, it's just taken me a long time to learn to back up, and you know, when the holes, you know, say the car's 10 foot wide and it's only 8 foot wide, I still try to put it in there for a long time, you know. Now I've just learned, you know, having to work on these things, and the more complex these cars get to put together, you know, these late models are, you know, just like your cars you drive down the road, they're not anything close to what they were 20 years ago. Same thing with the car you drive up and down the road. It takes so much to keep them together, and aerodynamics is huge. You know, you race at a quarter on a racetrack. And I remember the first time I ever felt air was I went with Billy Moyer to Manzanita in Arizona. Manzanita, Arizona, one of the last races I had. And he told me, he said, you know, follow me the first part of this race, and then we'll you know, gets down close to the end, we'll get it on. So I'm like, all right. So I get in behind him there, and we go down the first couple corners, and I just keep pushing across the track. But I'm following him, you know. I'm like, okay, I'm following you. So we come in after that. I don't know, after that night and for the next time, I'm like, man, I can't enter the corner behind you. I got to do something. I'm too tight. He said, well, it's the air. Well, Manzanita was big, you know. I mean, probably one of the biggest half miles I'd been on at that time, and that was the first time I'd ever felt air. You never felt it around home in Springfield or Monette or anywhere, but I don't care where you go today. You know, small as tractors like Springfield, if you follow somebody in the corner and you ain't got air on your nose, you're going to push across the racetrack. Air is just huge, and so you learn to keep your nose clean and not tear that nose up, and that's kind of part of what as it goes on here. But like I said, age is the biggest key to that.
You know, Jess, you're these two guys to your right. You're going to be competing, especially against Logan, right away. But they're, you know, quite a bit younger than you are. Do you feel like, as an older driver, even though you're still competitive, that you can teach these guys anything at all? And would you give them advice?
No. No, it's just one of the things that you learn, and they learn by watching. You know, I've learned it's called putting your time in, you know what I mean, to get there. And you know, when Logan outruns me, you know, and he has and will, you know, I watch things that he does, and you know, I know what mistakes he might make as a younger driver. And when he watches me, if I get around him or if he starts behind me, whatever it is, and watches things that I do, and it may not be something he uses, it might be something he uses against me, but it's all something that you learn. You can't really tell it, you know what I mean? Because every driver has a little bit different style of how they use that, you know, steering wheel and gas pedal.
You guys as drivers, all three of you, during the race, do you consciously know that you're putting on a good show for the fans? I mean, you can probably tell inside the car that the race is really, really good, or it's not so good. But when it's good, do you know that the fans are getting the show out of what you're doing?
You know, it just depends on what the situation, you know what I mean? Sometimes you'll think about that, man, I bet they like watching this, you know what I mean? But there's those other times it's so intense that, I mean, it's just like you got a bunch of rattlesnakes in the floorboard with you. You don't, I mean, you just don't know what, you know, if the track may be a little bit rough or you're just so close running 3 wide that you're concentrated on what you're doing so much that it's hard to think about what's going on in the stands. But I've been a couple times, like when I took the lead to show me one time, I remember coming off the floor and watching the whole crowd, you know, that was pretty cool. So there's definitely times that you see it, but there's times that you don't too.
What about you, Michael? Do you know, is it just too much going on inside the car to worry about what the fans are thinking?
I'm kind of with Jesse. I mean, it happens. A great example I can have is the Derby Bowl this year, 2019. At the time, when I was in the car, I was just thinking about go, 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 trying to get to the front as fast as you can. And then at the end, you get out and you're like, wow, that was a 12 race. Like when you start replaying it through your head. So at the moment when it's happening, you probably know. But as soon as you get out of the car and you take your helmet off and you kind of got a minute to digest what just happened, it's definitely, like, you can definitely tell if you put on a good show or not.
It's interesting to hear these guys when they talk about the fact that they're out there competing, but yet there are times when they are cognizant of the crowd being out there and standing up and cheering. Now for the old guy, hey, wake up now. When you were racing, were you ever knowledgeable of the crowd standing up and hollering for one of the ropers?
Well, yeah, you can see the crowd at most tracks when you come off 4. You can see them really without looking at them. I mean, just peripheral vision. And if you're running like 3rd or 4th in a race, and you got the first and second up there battling, especially if it happened to be a crowd favorite, you can see them jump up, you know. Actually see them do that. And I've been in a situation a time or two, in I-70 where, I don't know if I was out there, maybe not too close to the front of somebody behind me, I could actually hear the crowd. But there was a lot of people there.
And there have been a lot of people, if you can hear them over those things, that's pretty good, pretty good.
Guys, what's the biggest win you've had in your mind so far? And what's the most desired win you still want?
For me, it would probably have to be my Marsh race at West Plains. I guess that was 2017. That was a big win or fall of 2016. That was a big win for me. That was my first regional touring late model race. Got it done there in front of my hometown crowd, and it was just a big win. I enjoy that. And as far as probably my biggest one, of course, the Show Me's on the list. I think for every Missouri driver who races dirt late model, I think that's on the list for the most desired or coveted. Really also want to win the Larry Phillips for a lot of the reasons that Jesse did. It's a big race. I was fortunate enough to win the B-Mod portion when the race was at Springfield, but to win that late mod portion would be huge.
Jesse, you've been close to the Show Me a couple times. Just only one Missouri driver's ever won it. He'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame later this evening. Describe what it would be like for you to win that one.
It's huge. You know what I mean? That's something that, as a Missouri driver, like Logan said, there is just kind of what you want. You know what I mean? There's really, you know, a lot of people hear him say, I want to win the World 100 or whatever. The Show Me 100 would be the biggest one for me, just because it's the history and what it was, and you know, even what it was in West Plains. But yeah, we would probably I'd probably need a new roof on my car when I got done, because it'd be pretty exciting. And being able to start on the front row of that race a couple times, you know, I think me and Tony Jackson started on the front row of that race like 2 times in a row there, and then come through from the back and have a shot at it. You know, I mean, I replay that restart running second behind Owens that year. It was like 3 or 4 laps to go. You know, I just should have done something different. You know what I mean? Me and Owens might not have been friends, but you know, it is what it is at that point. You know what I mean? Those guys have won those races, and for somebody at a smaller level like me that doesn't have the resources that those guys have, it would just be huge. And it's really not for, you know, it's for me in my heart that I want to win it. It's not really for the crowd. I mean, it is for the crowd for sure. And you know, if we didn't have this crowd, then that's what I think a lot of people don't understand about racing is it takes all of it. It takes a promoter, it takes the drivers, and it takes the crowd. And if you don't have all 3 of those, then it's going to struggle. I don't care if you've got 100 cars in the pits. If there's 10 people sitting in grandstands, it doesn't work. So, you know, that's the part that we all got to be looking at here for the future of this sport is getting it all 3 aspects of it going. So, yeah, the Show Me 100 would be huge to me, and you know, probably my biggest wins was, you know, I won that Larry Phillips race at Springfield and winning at Wheatland. Just the trophy that Dan and them put together for that race was just awesome. The first time I seen it, you know, I was flicking my lips. I wanted that thing. So, you know, I won some big races. You know, won a total bowl down in Tennessee one time. It was pretty cool that we could look at my trophy room there. But it's I've had a lot of good wins, and won, you know, I've won races in Florida and I've won races in California, so it's kind of awesome to say that I've done that. And you know, just I think I'm 20 years into this now, so you know, hopefully we can have another 20 that are as good as he's been. 20 years into it now. This is obviously your life. Might tell the folks how you got started. It's a passion with you, of course, but what really was the breaking point that got you started now? Well, when I was young, my dad raced. My dad, my uncle, my grandpa raced years ago, and I didn't find this out till just recently that he raced at Belle Claire Speedway, was where he raced. They lived up around Cuba, Missouri, and you know, had old 37 Chevys or whatever. Well, then my grandfather got my dad, my uncle into it. I went to the races and didn't pay much attention to it, and Dad wouldn't let me have a go-kart, and you know, we just didn't do that stuff. So when I turned 16, the Tillmans, Jody and Damon, they started Randy. I don't know, was it Randy's? Did you start the cruiser class, or was that Kenna?
I think it's Kenna.
Okay. they started the cruiser class, and I'd been going to the races with Jody Tillman, and he had a Sportsman at that time, and you know, I worked down on the gas dock and made my money to be able to pay my own pit pass and go to races with him. And one night they said, "Hey, you want to drive this cruiser?" It was a 2-man car, and so I got in there and run the gas. And that week, Damon Tillman told me, said, "Hey, let's build one of these." So, I was all in, and so we done that for a couple of years, and then my dad wouldn't go to races. Absolutely would not do it. He knew what the sickness was, and the smelling that fuel and being there just it brings you if you're a racer to start with. So, anyways, I got him to go one night, and it was all over from there. We went and got it modified and tore fences down, tried to tear Randy's wall down every weekend, Sunday night, and we spent a lot of money and a lot of time, and it just, for some reason, it just sank in with me that that's what I wanted to do. When I graduated high school, I was decent at baseball, but I think I missed my last baseball game to go to a race, and missed my high school graduation to go to a race just because that's what I wanted to do. And
was this Billings?
No, I went to Reed Spring.
Reed Spring.
Yeah. And it just, my dad did it for so long, and then I think 4 years into it, he said, you can have what's left. I think all our motors were blowed up. He was tired of it, and he said, "You can have what's left, but you got to do it on your own." So I had to go out and find sponsors and get the money to do it on my own. I got to use the trailer and what cars and stuff were left, but there's been a ton of people along the way that there's no way that I could have ever done it. It was a very tough road. Being sleeping a lot of nights in the trailer under the car, just begging to sleep in Terry's holler or whatever. I mean, I really wanted to do it, and it's been a lot of fun, and those memories are great.
When you said you missed your last baseball game, did you play baseball? Did you play other sports at Reed Spring?
I played baseball was my main sport. I was a catcher there at Reed Spring, and that's all there. I lived, and breathed baseball until I found out what a race car was when I was 16. So I think I was I just was, I guess, destined to be a race car driver, because it's my dad absolutely, he helped me a whole lot, but it wasn't one of those deals that I was sky's the limit, here you go. He got me going, and then said, then set me free and said, here you go, figure out how to do it on your own. So it's been fun.
I'm always intrigued to ask race car drivers how they come up with their car numbers. Logan, your car number 36, what's behind that?
It was actually behind the guy who got me started in the modified class, Bill Adams. So Bill Adams is still a huge supporter of me. I owe a ton to that guy for getting me up on my feet and getting me going in the modified ring. So he ran number 36, and so I just kind of carried that number on, and I've never changed it. So I owe a lot to Bill Adams, and that's his number. We kind of keep it on there. It's kind of a small tribute to him.
Dylan Bates, tell us about your car number and the story behind it.
Yeah, I run number 91, and I think somebody might have to correct me on this, but I'm pretty sure it started at 19 on my grandpa's car when he was racing at the Fairgrounds. And then when David started, he started running the 91, and then when my dad got into it, when they were both running modifieds, my dad ran an 81, so they had 91 and 81, and that number just kind of always carried on. And when I started racing dirt bikes, I ran triple-digit numbers. I thought it looked cooler, so I was running 191. And my first year in a race car, I ran the 91 with a little 1 in front of it, kind of carrying on my own number. But this year I dropped all that, and I just run the 91. So it's just a family number, really. There's nothing else behind it other than that.
Let me ask these.
Well, we got to ask 000 first about how you came up with 000.
Well, we lived on 00 Highway in Kimberling City, and so everybody that lived down there was an 80-something. My dad was 80, my uncle was 87, and it seems like in that Kimberling City area, I think Ferris was 86, Jody's 84, Damon was 85. My dad was, I said my dad was 80, and so I just took 81 because it was right after my dad. And I raced with 81 for a few years, and I think until like 05. And that was my first big sponsoring, we would call it. His name was His name is Brad, and Brad Smith, and he's still a good friend to these days, to this day. And anyway, I went over to his place. He owned a funeral home in Branson. And I go over and I sat down and I said, he said, I want you to drive my car, but there's one problem. And I said, well, what's that? He said, well, you're 81 and I'm 00. I said, what was the problem? So, we took the number 00, and we thought about going back, but it's just kind of stuck with where we're at, and that's just kind of where I got it.
So the nickname Undertaker is a tribute to him as the funeral home guy.
Yeah, well, he didn't want, I think it was Wetzel Funeral Chapel on the side of the car, and he said just put, we called him the Undertaker, and so we just put, we put the Undertaker on the side of my hood. Well, then everybody just decided to call me the Undertaker as a nickname. Really, it was kind of a sponsor's name, but that's kind of where the Undertaker came from.
There have been 00s in other sports as well, but there was the grave digger who played baseball. Remember Richie Hebner? He came from a grave digging family, but never Undertaker. Never that. That is new. You guys right here, you heard Jesse talk about baseball being a passion with him growing up. Did you guys, either of you, both of you, play other sports as well?
Yeah, I played pretty much every sport that Fairgrove had to offer up until I think it would have been my freshman year. And it's the same deal with any racer. I was racing motocross at that time, and I was missing a lot of school to go racing already. So I decided that I was done with sports, with school. So I decided to drop all that, and I started racing motocross, and that's all I did through school. It was, I had school during the week, and sometimes I'd skip a Friday, and we'd be in the hauler. We'd sleep in the hauler for the whole weekend, racing the Missouri State Motocross Series until we switched to cars.
And then I wasn't like super into sports. I started racing at the age of 9. My parents got me into go-karts, and early on, I really enjoyed basketball, and I was on a traveling team and also played for the school. And early on, through junior high and stuff, they told me that I need to pick. Like, they said we can continue on with the racing or with the basketball, but we can't do it all. So kind of right then and there, I kind of made a decision that I wanted to race, and that's what I enjoyed most. And so through high school, I didn't do any other sports. All I did was just race and go to school. But no, that was kind of my athletic history.
We have about 15 minutes left to go in this Q&A session. If anybody has a question, Ed has a microphone. Be glad to bring it out to you.
I actually got one for Randy Wendell.
Yes, sir.
Randy, I gotta ask, so in a day and age when promoters take a lot of risk, and a lot of risk is on the promoters, maybe, I don't know, when you were starting the 4 state, or did you ever have a moment where you're like, man, this is really risky, or a race that you were scared wasn't going to succeed, or something like that, that may change the way you promoted or how you promoted?
I don't know a certain race. I think I started, I was young and dumb. I was about 27 years old, and the big names around here were still Larry Phillips and Willie Crane and those guys. And I can remember a couple guys coming down there. Bill Peck, if you remember Bill Peck, he was kind of hard to handle once in a while, and Bud Perky. And so I do remember going home and saying, what am I doing? As far as the big races, no, they didn't scare me. The 4 state was always my bread and butter. If the weather held up, I pretty well knew I was going to do good. And then after we lost Tony Roper, I started the Roper race, and it never scared me. I can remember Dean and Dale coming down. We had a big auction one year, and no, they didn't scare me. I did notice the older I got, and then it got to bother me. I'll be honest with you, 38 years in the business, and it was fun for a long time. And the last 3 or 4, it worked on my nerves a little bit. No, it didn't scare me. I didn't have the money, but I sure pretended I did. And I think always paid. I made a lot of people mad that if I guaranteed 10,000, I would have paid 10. Whatever I guaranteed, I paid. But I would like to say one thing, it's not one really question, but I met a lot of good people racing. I've got a lot of good friends from the racing community, and I think that's what it's all about.
I want to ask you about the Roper family. Of course, the Bates family of Fairgrove, making us mark the Roper family. Is that a family that you guys always looked up to as you were growing up?
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, I'm only 20 years old, so I was born in '99. So really, I remember Dale racing at Muilenburg the most, kind of towards the end of his career. I remember going every Friday night and watching Dale race his modified, his old 28 car. So yeah, that's just kind of what I grew up watching, was everybody from Fairgrounds that I looked up to. And Rovers were definitely one of them.
You should have been at the race at Monette when Dale got booed for outrunning his nephew. Because Tony was about to win his first race ever in a modified. True story. And Dale got in a little trouble. He got over because he got first and beat Tony by about 6 inches, right? But next week the kid come back and kicked his ass.
Yeah, that was a good one. I've been following Tony the whole race, and there was a little bit of a hole coming off of 2, and he was running right through the middle of that hole. And he'd look in the mirror, and I'd be right behind him. When he looked down, after we got the white flag there, to go into number 3 turn, I never let off. I just went to the outside and beat him by about a bumper. My Dean didn't say anything. He said, no, that's all right, but Tony's stepmother and my wife, they like to raise hell with me for doing that, you know. They thought that was awful. By the way, I raced with Stovall's dad and Uncle Bo in 1985 when they started the modifieds out at the airport. We all 3 raced. In fact, your dad claimed one of my motors once.
Yeah, that motor claim deal, that's, I remember that probably more than I remember anything is going to the races and, you know.
Well, now, how old would you been in '85?
5.
You wouldn't hardly was in. That's when we started racing out there.
Yeah.
Modifieds.
Yeah, it was probably, you know, maybe 86, 87 or something, but, you know, it was, you know, that motor claim, they just didn't have a set of ratings. It just was not a well-organized deal. I mean, back then, you know, you go to a fight and watch a race break out, and that's kind of what it was with that motor claim deal. There was so much stuff, and you know, Terry's told me some of the stuff that him and his dad did to motors, you know, welding main caps on, drilling blocks out, so when you took the water pump off, you know, they blow the motor up. I mean, there's just, that motor claim deal was you know, that was one of the reasons when I started racing that my dad didn't really want to come around, was just because of all that stuff. And I said, look, that's the past is the past. This is a different deal, and it is. But you know, I miss that part of racing really bad. You know what I mean? When everybody come in and they just had an old pickup and an open trailer, and it was all they could do to get there each week. And so when they got their motor took, no matter if it was $200 or $2,000, they was pissed.
You wouldn't do that again, though.
I didn't claim it. His dad claimed my motor.
So whether it's a local race or a Lucasville late model national series race, Jesse, if you could pick one guy to pass on the 4th turn of the final lap to win, who would it be?
Any of them, you know, there's not, I mean, I don't care who it is. You know, if you pass somebody on the last lap to win a race, that makes the crowd like it. That's what this is about. And, you know, like Logan was saying, you can't let any of them guys all 3 there. You know, that we're all human, you know, and some of them guys have a better opportunity than others, sponsorship-wise, funding-wise. But, you know, and it makes you feel better when you beat somebody that maybe out-dollars you. But at the end of the day, if you're good enough to be running second, you're good enough to win.
Jesse, I want to ask you a question. I've watched a lot of races at Wheatland, and I never raced there, but I cannot understand someone like you can run right against the wall and gain ground in 1 and 2, but you can't, whatever you gain 1 and 2, if you stay right against the wall in 3 and 4, you'll lose it. You'll lose that ground. There's a difference in them turns, isn't there?
Yeah, you know, they're getting them better. You know, and that racetrack, when they put the wall all the way around it, you know, they built all that facility all the way around it, it changed it. And turn 4, you know, we talk about it endlessly to Dan and the people at the track. It flattens off so bad that if there's not just a phenomenal amount of traction off of turn 4, you can't run with the guy off the bottom or in the middle.
Well, it just looks to me like when the track gets really good, you know, dry slick, they start out dry slick anymore track, but anybody that's really good, like you or someone can run that out that cushion, can really make up ground out there in 1 and 2. But if you want to keep making up ground, you got to go through the middle in 3 and 4.
Yeah, you got to get there and get in that cushion and get that car turned off the cushion in a hurry. I mean, at least a lane below it to exit with it like you need to.
Logan, you saw a lot of new tracks last year, first time around the circuit. Is there 1 or 2 that really stood out to you that you really enjoyed?
Yeah, I really enjoyed going to 34 Raceway in Burlington, Iowa. That was a really cool track. And that was one that really stood out in my mind. Another one, or I guess 2 of them, Davenport and West Liberty up there in Iowa. I had no idea there was as many half miles in Iowa as there is. I mean, I swear they're all half miles. Yeah, they're all old Fairgrounds tracks. They're all big, huge half miles. But I walked out, we unloaded, we got into Davenport the night before, so it was all black. So we got in about 3 o'clock in the morning. So I woke up, I walked out of the trailer about 9:30 the next morning, and I walked up and looked at the track, and I was just like, oh my, like what have I got myself into type deal. It just all kind of went in my head. I was like, it's going to be big, and then it's fast, and it's going to be a little bit scary. But no, they were probably the tracks that stood out in my mind the most. Is probably them 3 tracks.
Now, if you could choose, would you rather run a little boring track or a big half mile?
I would say I really don't have a preference. I'd say a lot of it comes down to track prep. Like, I really enjoy going to Lakeside in Kansas City, and I really enjoy going to like Springfield here in the Ozarks. They're complete opposites. Like, one's a big half mile, one's a quarter mile, but a lot of times they're both prepped very good. They're very racy tracks. So I don't really have a preference on that, but I always try and watch a lot of video before I go. I mean, for instance, with Terry being inducted, I remember when I first got in the late model and we were going to Monette, I was watching a video trying to learn about Monette and like what line to run, and I listened to Terry Phillips' interview where he talked about how he wouldn't run the cushion unless he just absolutely had to in order to avoid getting flat, and he would just run up there and tap it or come down, and I used that for I won my first Marsh race there, kind of based off that.
I just laughed about the flats. Every time I went, that place is one of the most awesome racetracks there ever was. But man, I swear it grows rocks. I mean, you can go out there and pick up rocks and help Randy pick up rocks, and it just grows them. I don't know if they just fall out of the sky or where they come from, but you know that place is absolutely my most favorite racetrack. But you just got to know that, and that's smart that Logan used that video technology, I guess you would call it, to learn a little bit, because it definitely will eat you at times. It'll make you or break you for sure.
Well, it's Missouri. There are a lot of rocks, Randy. I guess that's a promoter's enemy, isn't it?
Trying to plant something, a tree or something, that'll break your back and a lot of other things too.
You know, a lot of them racetracks up in Iowa that Logan was talking about, most of them started out as horse tracks, so they're big and flat, and they're all about the same size, but they're all, some of them places you'll see they still got the big stadium with the glass in front. Park Jefferson, South Dakota is one of them, which is kind of mostly in Iowa, upper northwestern Iowa track. But the dirt is just so much different. It's black, and you can take a shovel and throw it at the ground and it disappears to the handle. So it's a whole different ballgame.
I would say if I was a race fan, I want to pick me out a racetrack to go to. Other than Springfield, Wheatland, we got great tracks here in Monette. But I like I-55 at Peebly. But if you get a chance, go to Fairbury, Illinois. That's one of the finest little quarter-mile dirt tracks in the country. It is a bull ring, but it's a heck of a show. You've probably been there, Jesse. Logan, you ought to go run it. Go to Fairbury. If you're a spectator, just watch it. It's a town, you think you're driving into Chesapeake, Missouri. And here's the track's right in the middle of town. It's the raciest thing you ever seen. Bobby Pierce will be there, so you're going to get your money's worth. But I would check it out. If I was in that area, I'd go to Fairbury.
Before we wrap up, Randy, I want to have you tell a story about one of the all-time great nights in racing, the year that you ran the World of Outlaw shows on the dirt at I-44 Speedway. Probably 6,000 or 7,000 fans were there, and it was a weeknight of all things, and that many people showed up. And it rained about the time the race ended, or a little bit short of that, because speaking of flat tires, Scott Bloomquist seemed to have about 10 of them that night.
Scott Bloomquist does that. But anyway, I don't have a claim to fame, but that was probably my biggest night. And I was partners with the Willards up there. And I can remember Brad Willard saying, Randy, don't be afraid to swing with a big stick. So that's what we did. NDRA had come and gone, and USAC late models had come and gone, and so we got a chance to get the World Outlaws, and we had Bloomer. Actually, that's really one of the first shows where those guys came around here. Yeah, it didn't hurt. We had Carl Edwards, and that's a different story too. You know, he was kind of average in NASCAR, and then he goes to Atlanta, and he sweeps the weekend. Back then, it was the Busch race and the Cup race. So I had Carl coming for a little bit of cash, whatever you do it, and we sent a plane to get him and all that. But anyway, we got lucky. We had a great field of cars, a great crowd. And if you'll get the video out on that race, when Lebanon was dirt, 5 wide on that dude. Lap wasn't running, a lot of laps, 5 wide around that thing, and fast. You know, Billy Moore said the track's too fast, shouldn't be running it. We run it on dirt, about 12.30 was the track record. And then we rained out with 12 to go. McCready was leading. Who won that? The Kentucky Colonel, what's his name? Steve Francis won the race on lap 38. It came at deluge, rain, big rain, and every other lap. And you was even trying to, you're a big Scott Bloomquist fan. No, I know he is. Yeah, Little goes, who is that guy over there? I better not say there's a lot of Bloomer fans here, but he caused 4 yellow flags or we would have got it done. It's one of the best races I ever seen, and I was proud of it on Tuesday night. It was very nice, wasn't bad.
You know, Brendan's got a dirt car now, so all we can do is hope.
These young guys can take it and promote it and do good. Whatever they do is fine. Asphalt fine, dirt's fine, but that was a good show. A lot of good cars.
Anybody like another swing for questions? Anybody in the audience have a question before we wrap up? Or any other panelists want to ask another panelist?
I'm gonna ask the drivers and I'm gonna ask Randy. How many hours a week do you prepare getting ready for the next race?
I would say, it's a solid 40 between me and my dad. We don't have any hired crew guys or anything like that. It's just me and my dad, basically. So kind of our schedule is we get done racing Saturday, we drive all night, get back home for Sunday morning, wake up, go to church, and then we try to unload 1 o'clock and start washing, and then we leave work at 5:30 and we work till 9 or 10. It's typically, if you add up both of our hours, it's about 40 hours worth of work.
I don't know if I ever put it, on a schedule like that, but in the middle of race season, I go to the race shop after work every day. So, that's all I care to do. That's all I care about. It's my hobby. It's everything I want to do. So I'm at the race shop whenever I can be, just messing with something. So, during the race season, I don't know, probably a good 20, 30 hours, but we're not running near the caliper races Logan up here is competing with.
It's just all the hours you can put in. I don't know if it's 40 hours or 20 hours or 80 hours. It's all you can do every week, and I've since in this 20-year stretch here, I've got a family and a little boy that I like to go to basketball games and stuff. So I am lucky enough to have Tony. I see him standing around here somewhere. We call him Tommy Boy, but he's there every day and works his butt off, and I appreciate the heck out of that. And, if these cars, whether they work for us now with the technology and the spring smashers and all that, it just takes all the time you can absolutely give it and more.
Okay, Randy, getting a racetrack ready during the week from one race to another. About how many hours do you look at it? What was your process?
Hey Ryan, but I don't want to step on top of you, but real quick, a couple of outstanding things. We're getting ready to wind up the autograph session back here on the backside. For everybody that is still wants to participate in the bucket side of things, as far as the opportunity, go check that out. There's about 15, 20 things over there. Some very cool things that you can have an opportunity to win really cheap. We're also getting ready to do the live auction at 4:45 over here on the stage in front of the t-shirts and programs. Speaking of t-shirts and programs, don't forget you can get your t-shirt. t-shirts and programs while you're here as well. So we'll start that about 4:45 before we start the program at 5. And like I said, we're getting ready to go into the autograph session as well. So I'll go back to Ronnie and go back to you guys.
I'd just say as far as track pep, a lot depends on the weather, dry week versus rainy week, and race day in itself. I always got to my racetracks at 8 o'clock, before 8 or before every morning. It's midnight or after when I got gone, but you know, it was 20, 30 hours a week, and I didn't mind the work. It was kind of fun.
That just shows basically how many hours these guys do put in to be able to put on a show for the fans. And Ned, and I know you and Linda, you'll talk about the hours you put in, research, things, stories, from the media side, from the racetrack. Social media has helped us, it's cut our time down, but there's that time that you still put in. It's all about they want to put on a show, and the fans are ready to see them.
Well, whether it's asphalt or dirt, we encourage everyone to get out and support your track of choice this year. So we'll wrap up the Q&A session. We appreciate everybody for listening. Thanks to the panelists. And we will start the next up will be the live auction at 4:45, formal program at 5. So thanks very much.